So your dad started Dwyer Group in 81,
Mm-hmm.
and you became CEO in
99.
99.
Because he passed away in 94, and there was a bit of a transition time, yeah.
Okay. So when you became CEO, what were the dominant thoughts?
Yeah. First of all, I never had a goal of being CEO. Just he always said I was going to be a leader of the company, and he worked as hard and didn't pay us very much, right? You could talk to all my siblings about that. One day, you'll thank me, and yeah, that's another story. But I didn't ask to be the CEO. So we're a publicly traded company, traded on NASDAQ, and our outside board of directors just felt like we had the right people on the bus, but not in the right places. And so they decided they wanted to put me in the role of acting president and CEO. So I'm 35 years old, had never run a company that size, had run a real estate company, and been involved in franchising all of my life, side by side with my father. And I thought to myself, okay, I can do this if I have the right mindset, and remember that I'm only good at a few things, and I've got to surround myself with people. Some of the lessons I learned from those motivational tape programs I listened to as a child, I've got to surround myself with people that are stronger than I am and be okay with that. But always inspect what I expect, and all those lessons that you learn in leadership. And I was actually up against a battle. So all the businesses of the Dwyer Group, now Neighborly, are primarily home service businesses that had been led by men, mostly male-dominated trades businesses. And I had a group of Mr. Rooters, one of the brands, and one of our larger brands, and a group of leaders in the Mr. Rooter organization actually got together, and there was a kind of a head leader who did a vote, straw poll vote, should Dina be allowed to be the president and CEO of this company. They didn't really have a say in it, really, other than they were our franchisees and they're critical to the life of our organization. And they voted no, she shouldn't be the president and CEO. So that's the first thing I faced.
Wow.
Right? And so I think to myself, okay, so what do I do with this? And one of the things I've learned by working on my faith is to accept truth when there's truth always before us, and to accept the truth. And so I decided I needed to meet with this gentleman, and big guy, plumber, but a good businessman, really good businessman. And so he was out in Seattle, and asked to meet with him. And the interesting thing was that the whole time I was meeting with him, he was just sweating, thinking, who is this little girl, challenging me? And I wasn't challenging in a disrespectful way. I just said, look, I understand you did a straw poll. You and the franchisees, sounds like you voted against me being in this role, and I'd like to understand why. He said two things. You're not a plumber, and you never run a company this size. So I had to look inwardly and say, okay, you're right. Number one, I'm not a plumber, and I'll probably never be a plumber. Number two is I haven't run a company this size, certainly not a publicly traded company. And again, the Holy Spirit works in beautiful ways, right? Because I didn't think about this by myself. And I said, but you know what I am? I'm the customer. So when your texts go to a customer's house, who typically answers the door? It's the woman of the house. So I'm thinking, who better to run this company than somebody that understands what the customer wants? And all I'm asking you to do is to give me a chance. You know what? I want the best person to lead this company. So give me 6 months. You cannot say anything negative about me or my leadership for 6 months. In fact, you got to stand right beside me. And you got to cheer me on and do whatever I need to do to help me. Because I'm going to have to learn a few things from you, because you're smarter than I am in certain areas of the business that I don't know. He said, okay, fair enough. And he was terrific, along with an amazing team of people, including Robert Tunmeyer, who had been the CEO, strong Catholic. You know him, Matthew. He went from being my boss, the CEO, to working for me. And he did it like such a man would do it. I mean, he's a hero of mine because he was such a man in the way he handled that transition and gave me incredible support. So to kind of end that story, I had a lot of challenges early on, but once I got the buy-in of the team and the franchisees, and I had the right people on the bus in the right places, it's probably one of the happiest times of my life that I had the opportunity to lead that company.
So he said, you're not a plumber, and you've never run a business this large. Your father wasn't a plumber. And He didn't say you're not a man, but how much of it was that?
A lot.
Yeah.
And he had a wife and 2 daughters. And so, he was honest, and he said, "Look," he said, "I'm up against all these women." But I don't think he believed that a woman could run that company.
Interesting.
But we became very close friends. Unfortunately, we lost him to cancer, but we became very close friends. And he probably became my greatest cheerleader.